Now, Executive Suite with WPRI.com reporter Ted Nesi.
Breaking ground in Burrillville. After 30-plus years making dry, cured meats in the woods of Pasco, Daniele Foods has embarked on a $30 million expansion. The company's new state-of-the-art charcuterie facility will churn out prosciutto, salami, and more. Daniele founders and owners, the Dukcevich family, have had a simple business philosophy since coming to America.
People are so busy complaining they don't have time to work. We at Daniele, we're busy, we're working, so we have no time to complain.
Now a new generation is taking the reins. They're not straying from their father's basic principles, but they are trying out some new ideas, including a coming line of organic products from local farms. This week on Executive Suite, we'll get food for thought from Daniele Foods owners Stefano and Davide Dukcevich. Welcome to Executive Suite. I'm Ted Nesi. Stefano, David, thanks for being with me today.
Nice to be here.
And we have quite a spread here on the table of your products, and we're going to talk a lot more about those. But I want to start off, and I'll start with you, David. People may not realize that one of the country's major Italian cured meat makers is in the woods in Pasco, in Burrillville. How did your family end up there?
Kind of a long story, Ted. Basically, my grandparents, our grandparents, were refugees from Yugoslavia. They fled from the communist regime there at the end of the war, of World War II, and they ended up in Italy, in a border town called Trieste. And that's where they started making salami. My grandmother would work in the factory. She would work in the kitchen originally, and then she'd put salamis on my grandfather's bike, and he'd take them to the local restaurants in town, and slowly they built this business.
Literally a mom and pop business.
That's exactly right. And by saving money, by working hard, by the 1950s, they had one of the larger food production companies in that part of Italy. By the 70s, they had grown to such an extent that my father, Vlado, was able to bring the company here to Rhode Island. And what we found here really was terrific pork, terrific raw ingredients, and we're really making some of the best food that we've ever made.
Now, your father, Vlado, first of all, the Yugoslav experience explains why you have Dukcevich is your last name, which doesn't sound super Italian to people at home, but your family's was in Italy for years before you came here. Burrillville, I read one of you told an interviewer, I think with Rhode Island Monthly, that part of the appeal of Burrillville was actually the fresh air. Is that correct?
That's absolutely correct.
Why does that matter?
It matters tremendously because prosciutto is cured over 12 months, 14 months, 16 months, sometimes as long as 2 years. And whether you want to or not, you cannot have prosciutto in an industrial city. I mean, to make prosciutto in Detroit wouldn't really work out too well. So for sure, the open spaces and the green spaces of a town like Burrillville was one of the major reasons for my dad coming over.
And you started in Burrillville in, I think, 76 or 77, and been growing ever since then. You've built additional facilities. You have one coming. We'll talk about that. Has it been steady growth, or have you seen an uptick in revenue in recent years?
Well, a little bit of both. For sure, there has been steady growth. Nevertheless, in the 70s, mid-70s, when my father started the first operation, as you can imagine, no one in the mid-70s knew what prosciutto was. As a matter of fact, the story of the factory is that he came over to build this prosciutto facility because he wanted to expand over from Italy. And his original idea was to build about 150,000 ham per year facility, which is very tiny by Italian standards. And so to work 2 or 3 years, and after 2 or 3 years, leave it in the hands of a general manager and go back to Italy. And 40 somewhat years later, it didn't really work out that well. Because being back in the 70s and people not really knowing prosciutto, my father found himself with truckloads of prosciutto and not really a lot of places to go in. Mm-hmm. Hence the necessity of making salamis and mortadellas, and even back then they made fresh sausages and some other things to fill up that truck, if you will. So he kept it within the tradition of what he knew, but nevertheless he had to expand the line, versus making a single product like in Italy. I mean, in Italy you have many facilities that are mono product. You make just prosciutto, or you make just salami, or you make just capocollo. in our facility, we make a little bit of everything.
Yeah, it's interesting. In the early days there, we didn't see a lot of our dad. He, he'd wake up at 4 in the morning. He'd check his hams in the prosciutto plant. He'd drive down to New York, to Brooklyn, or the North End in Boston, get some orders, drive back to the plant, or order up some hogs from Iowa. So he was a one-man show at the beginning. And what happened over the course of the decades, really starting in the 80s, was that you saw specialty products, not just prosciutto, but also things like bread. Back in the 80s, most mainstream supermarkets just had Wonder Bread, right? Now they have bagels and lavash bread and ciabatta bread. So the same thing was happening with us, where 20 years ago or 25 years ago, you would only find bologna in your mainstream supermarket. Now, you have all of these wonderful new items. So, again, through his hard work and through good luck, we really caught a tidal wave of the gourmet food movement, which really enabled us to become a mainstream product at this point.
Now, give me a sense of the scale of the operation today. How big is it? It's going to get bigger with the expansion. Next thing I want to ask you about, but how many pounds of food are you going to, how many people do you have working up there?
We have around 300 employees. Altogether, square footage-wise, right now we are around 500,000 square feet. With the addition, we will be around 1 million square feet. The square footage is in a way deceiving because we do make products that take an extremely long time to cure. So, for example, part of the expansion is to make prosciutto. Well, prosciutto itself, to make the number of prosciutto we need 300,000 square feet. But of actual production area, if you will, there really isn't that much. It's just that it just takes such a long time. I mean, if you could imagine, Napa Valley or something, and having all those cellars, but the cellars would be 10 times as big to make wines that are all, 2, 3, 5, 10 years old before you even bottle them.
But everything's relative. I think I've seen estimates, 23 million pounds of ham and cured meats coming out?
That is correct.
That's quite a bit, and that's part of why you're doing this new expansion. I said at the top 30 million. I had my numbers backwards there. It's a $50 million expansion you're doing. It was announced. The governor and everyone showed up for the groundbreaking earlier this year. Tell us about the project. What was the idea? Why do you need it? What's it going to be like?
Well, the idea is that as the years have passed, we are still making prosciutto out of the original building, and the original building dates from 1976. Within our industry, over the course of the last 30 years, there have been tremendous amounts of industrial and technological breakthroughs, of which, of course, being in an older building, you're not really able to take advantage of. So with the new construction, we are basically able to almost triple our output of prosciutto within the same square footage of the older facility. So it's an idea that makes sense. It's an idea that makes sense mostly why? Because the sales are there. People are there. The people understand, and they want a quality product, which is fantastic for us.
Let's actually take a look. We have a drawing of the new building, what it's going to look like, a rendering by an artist, and it's going to be a fancy new place. Where exactly in Burrillville is it for people who have a sense, who live up in that area?
It's off of Bronco Highway of Route 102. Actually, the name of the street that brings up to the facility is called Daniele Drive.
Makes sense.
So you can't kind of
And when do you expect it to be finished, up and running?
We hope to be finished between getting up the whole building. It takes quite a long time. So we're really hoping to put in the first prosciutto around, say, February or March of 2014, which means, again, because it takes such a long time, that hopefully by 2015, we are able to roll out the first product.
Now we're getting up toward a break, but David, I had one question for you. People were debating with me on Twitter before this show. Should I say prosciutto, as my Italian-American grandmother did, or prosciutto, which is what you're saying, Stefano? What's the deal with that? Why does people say it different ways?
Honestly, Ted, both versions are correct. Prosciutto is the Italian. That's the official way. That's the correct way by Italian, but by the Italian language. But prosciutto has become the sort of the Italian-American vocabulary. And when you say prosciutto or prosciutto in a store, it's completely okay. It's completely
You don't
fine.
look down on people
Absolutely
who come in?
not. No, that's the Italian-American way. And thank God for them, they're our customers.
That's right. Absolutely. I called my father to check yesterday. He said, well, there's a little T on the end at prosciutto that you got to do. So we're going to actually carve some prosciutto. Well, I'm not going to, but they are. I wish you folks could smell what's here on the table. Stick with us for that on Executive Suite. Welcome back to Executive Suite. I'm Ted Nisi, and we're doing something a little different this week on the show. We're going to carve a prosciutto ham. This is a prosciutto ham, and there are 150,000 of these hanging up in your current facility.
Yes, indeed.
And there'll be even more in the new one.
Close to 500,000.
Close to 500,000. So
Yes.
a lot of these, imagine them all strung up. So show us, how do you properly carve a prosciutto ham?
Sure. Well, first of all, you have to clean the face so that you can start already with a clean slice. And that's the most important thing, of course. Back about 50 years ago or so, all prosciutto were carved by hand. Now, of course, they're all carved by machine, which it lends for a very different experience. The prosciutto we know is carved very thin. This prosciutto carved by hand, of course, is going to be a little bit thicker.
Oh, so it's actually thicker when you do it by hand, because when you buy the machine-made one, you get that very, very thin
Of course,
slice.
but the nice thing is that carving a little bit thicker, it gives it a different kind of texture, and it tastes different. It tastes magnificent.
One of the reasons for that is that when you machine slice a prosciutto, the heat of the blade alters the flavor a bit.
Really?
Whereas when you use a cold blade like this, the flavor really stays intact.
Now, is this a process? Your father? How did your father learn to do this? How was it? He was from Yugoslavia.
Right. Well, when they started making just salamis at the beginning, they decided to branch out in Italy there to include prosciutto, and there's such a strong tradition there that my father actually learned from masters in Parma. He actually spent a lot of time in Germany as well, where they specialize in smoked prosciutto. So he knows it very well.
So this is how he saw them carving prosciutto in Parma almost a century ago. Your grandfather.
That's
then.
right. And you know, this is one of the easiest things in terms of ingredients. All you really need to make this is salt and a ham. That's what we have here, salt and pork. But to get it right, it's very, very difficult, because you need to figure out how much the salt is penetrating into the muscle. You don't want a prosciutto that's too salty or too raw. So to get it perfect, it really takes a poet, if you will.
And it's a long process, you said before, right? These have to hang out for a long time?
It's a long process because it's an all-natural process. And I think that is the reason why in today's world, in today's culinary world, all these things are taking such hold. Because people want to eat something that means something to them, and things that are made with natural ingredients, and things that don't have a lot of byproducts of things. And it doesn't get any more natural than prosciutto. Here you have the leg of a ham and salt, period. It takes a long time to make, but the end result is something that has been enjoyed for centuries.
Where do the hogs come from? Where do you get them?
Mostly the Midwest, because of course in the United States, the Midwest tends to have the best meat for prosciutto. And why is that? Because as you can see here, the fat marbling on hams from the Midwest is particularly good, probably because of the feed, and also the cold weather helps. Mm-hmm. A cold weather ham is better than a warm weather ham, for example.
And Daniele is not, the label is actually, is it Del Duca is the label that these are sold under? If people are looking in a store?
Yeah, the Del Duca is the brand of the prosciutto that we really wanted to make people know that this was ours. So we proudly call this Del Duca. The reason that we called it Del Duca is that it echoes our name, Dukcevich.
Correct.
Yes, but as we've been saying, this is all handmade. Each prosciutto, even though we have so many, is hand drawn. In other words, the prosciutto tells you when it's ready. It's not like you can put it in an oven, have it cooked for 10 minutes or something.
That's right.
And either my brother or my father or a couple of other guys in the plant, they check every ham before they're sent out.
So you have to look at it's a
well,
look and feel thing.
it's at the end of the day, it's still food, so it's still organoleptic. You have to go into the room and smell what's in the room. Is it smelling correctly? Is it giving off that wonderful bouquet? Then you have to look at the prosciutto. Is the size right? The look of is it shrunk correctly? And then you have to touch. And again, it's either myself and my father or one of our very good prosciutto masters that goes into the cantina and really, it takes a feel on the thicker part of the prosciutto to see, has it shrunk enough? So will it be sweet and yet firm enough?
And we're heading off into a break, but before we do, I want to ask, when you think of your product lines, what's the most popular? Is it prosciutto #1 by a mile? Do you see any products gaining in popularity?
I think it's prosciutto, not by a mile, but certainly prosciutto. Then salami is very popular. Interestingly, I don't know if you've ever cooked, Ted, with pancetta.
My father has. I'm not the best cook. But
the Italian bacon, it's terrific, particularly in a pasta sauce or wrapping it around shrimp. It's Italian bacon, so that one's actually been really hot lately thanks to the Food Network. A lot of these celebrity chefs are cooking with pancetta.
So people are learning and they come to you for it. All right.
That's right.
Well, we're going to take a break after seeing this tasty demonstration here, and we'll talk more about their new line of products at Daniele with locally sourced foods. Stick with us on Executive Suite. Welcome back to Executive Suite. I'm Ted Nisi. My guests on a very flavorful edition of the show are Daniele Foods, Stefano and Davide Dukcevich. And one thing we were talking about when we were getting ready for the show is you're coming out, I don't know if it's on sale yet, but a new line of locally sourced products, which is what we have here on the table. Tell me about it, David.
Absolutely. It's actually great timing to speak with you now, Ted, because actually we're launching this line this week. And what we have here...
if you could hold that up high,
sure.
And yeah, let's see if we can get to it. Yeah, there you go. So you have this label on it that was locally made as well, right?
That's right. So what we decided to do about a year ago, it was actually quite a long project, was work with local farmers, local people who were raising hogs, and have them raise hogs to our specifications. So they've been doing that for the past year, and finally, we were able to buy some of them and use them to make this special line of locally raised product. Actually, even as you mentioned, the label is designed by students at the Rhode Island School of Design. So, the meat comes from locally sourced farmers. We're producing it in Rhode Island. The label is made by local artists. The whole thing is...
It says right on here, made locally in Rhode Island with pork from New England farms. So, and this is brand new on the shelves now. Where can people find it if they want to try it out?
You can find it at Dave's Market. We're also selling it to select restaurants and stores. It should be appearing on menus soon.
And it's multiple different meats here. Some I've never even heard of the actual name using it. Like there's mortadella, that's over there.
Soppressata?
Soppressata, I didn't know. There you go. So you've got a bunch of options here. And this flows with, you stayed in Rhode Island. You're building, you're expanding here. You folks have a commitment to Rhode Island. That's clear also in this. What was the thinking going into that? We constantly hear Rhode Island is a very tough place to do business.
Well, one of the things, it made a lot of sense. First of all, we have our families here, and we love this state. And we wanted to make a commitment here. One of the things that really, one of the reasons that we came out with this local line is that we see that there's so much potential in Rhode Island for the food industry. We have Johnson & Wales turning out all of these great chefs. We have these wonderful restaurants. We have Federal Hill with all those great food stores. We're here, and there's a bunch of other some other food manufacturers. So to get everybody together, there's Silicon Valley out west. What we'd love to do is create a food valley here in Rhode Island. I think it's prime for the pump.
My friend Paul Grimaldi at the Providence Journal did a story, interviewed you folks and some others about just that idea. Do you think is there something lacking? Is it just coordination, or do you think what could be the spark that gets that going? Maybe it's initiatives like this one.
It's definitely up to people like us, too. I mean, of course, it's wonderful to have state help, but it's really up to us to create it at the private level, and then hopefully to have some kind of direction at the state level to bring it all together. But as far as making products and selling it to the local chefs and working with local chefs, working with local farmers, that's something that, in my opinion, we can start now. And I hope that the state of Rhode Island recognizes the potential that there is in food all over Rhode Island. I mean, Rhode Island is known nationally for food. There's such a potential. I mean, tomorrow can be a wonderful place to be.
We had huge growth in farming too in Rhode Island. Tell me more about, you mentioned the state. What are sort of the challenges with state and local government for you, when you thought about this, and obviously you went with it in the end?
Well, we have been here for well over 30 years, and there's always going to be challenges in dealing with with business. There's always going to be some sort of a tension, but we've decided to stay here. We're very happy that we did. Yeah. Again, I think that the ecosystem here in Rhode Island is just terrific. It would be great, for example, to have some sort of a campaign. Come have a meal in Rhode Island. Come eat on Federal Hill. Let's shine a spotlight on it. there's some terrific things happening with food in this state.
So to some extent, it sounds like you think there's just maybe not even an awareness generally about how much good stuff there is in the food sector and around right now.
I think that's probably true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You folks, this is a tough topic, but 2 years ago, people might have heard there was a salmonella outbreak, and your company was tied in the headlines to it. Turned out, once the investigation was done, there were no direct ties to your products. There was a supplier that affected a lot of people. Tell me about what that must have been very challenging. What was that experience like?
For sure, it was a harrowing experience. I mean, we felt very vindicated early this year when actually a court found that the supplier of, in this case, pepper, was indeed guilty. And you know, it doesn't take away the negative headlines, if you will, but at least there was a vindication on our part that you know, we have always been very food safety conscious, and it's nice to have that kind of indication where you have somebody else say that yes, you too, we agree that you're clean, and the problem really was somewhere else.
And the good thing is that we're completely past it. This happened 3 years ago, and our sales have tripled since. So we haven't lost a client because of it. I think that there was a great empathy and understanding. You know, one of the advantages about being a family company is that your clients know who you are. They know your face. They know that, you know, you're a hardworking family. You're trying to do your best. So that really paid off.
And you switched up, obviously, pepper suppliers too.
Sure.
They had a different process now that some of the pepper suppliers are using?
Yes, correct. I mean, also we have an on-site lab, a third-party lab that checks all our incoming ingredients and all our outgoing products. So, you know, we are as safe, if not safer than any other company in the United States, I would really say, at the food testing technology level.
And let's talk about, it's the holiday season. People are entertaining. They may have New Year's parties, Christmas parties coming up. Any ideas for them from you folks spend time with food all day? Any interesting ideas on meats or products?
Well, we brought in a nice sandwich here.
Which my crew is eyeing, yeah.
So this is made, we built it with our 3 most popular meats. It's made with prosciutto, salami, and Soppressata. We sprinkled some lettuce inside. And it's actually the bread that we're using here to stay with this theme of local foods is from 7 Stars Bakery, which is a terrific bakery that actually uses our product. So very, very tasty. I would recommend.
Oh, so it's 7 Stars. They're having Daniele Foods or what they're using in their sandwiches.
One of their sandwiches uses our Soppressata. So it's very, very basic. It's incredibly easy to build this sandwich. All you need to do is go to the bakery, you know, go to the store, buy your stuff, and fill it up.
So the big sandwich and cut it into smaller slices is a good way to go.
Absolutely, and of course, you know, I mean, prosciutto is such a holiday thing, especially in Italian households. You know, when you eat it with a little bit of like burrata, which is like creamy melted mozzarella, it's just such an easy treat, and it's a wonderful appetizer for any kind of holiday meals. I mean, there's a reason why we tend to have greater sales in holidays than the rest of the year. It's because our products are just made for a ready-to-eat kind of environment.
Perfect, and a good note to end on. That's all the time we have this week. I really want to thank my guests, Stefano and Davide Dukcevich from Daniele. Stick with us next week and every week on Executive Suite.